Next to me is Ford's all-new fully electric SUV, a very exciting proposition from the manufacturer named the Mustang Mach-E. Yes, that's right, it's called a Mustang. And while the name may be extremely controversial, I think it works for a multitude of reasons. One, brand recognition. Everyone knows the name Mustang. They associate it with speed and style. And with a car that's as important to Ford's brand as the new Mach-E, car manufacturers are going hybridized and electrified. Making something with a name that's recognizable, honestly, makes a heck of a lot of sense. And if you look at it from a stylistic standpoint, we've got a sloping rear deck, those triple lights in the back, the pony badge, as well as an aggressive front. It does actually kind of look like a Mustang. But regardless of the name, it's certainly a good-looking SUV. The Mach-E starts at a pretty friendly price at just under $43,000. Now tack on the $7,500 tax incentive, and you're at $35 grand for a base model, the Select Mustang Mach-E. And it basically gives you everything you would want. 230-mile range, 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds. It's good looking on the outside and the inside. But for those of you who want a much faster version, have no fear. There are 4 different trim levels of the Mach-E, ranging from the Select all the way up to the GT Performance. The GT Performance gives you dual motors for all-wheel drive, a 235-mile range, and 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. After tax incentives, that'll set you back in the high 50s. The car I'm testing today fits beautifully in the middle. It's a first edition, which means it's got all-wheel drive, extended range of 270 miles. It's got more power, 346 horsepower and 428 pound-feet of torque, meaning this model can go from 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds. And also, after the federal tax incentive, only cost you about 43 grand. Ford did such a great job with the exterior of the Mach-E. It's incredibly unique, it's good looking, yet it feels familiar all at the same time with those little hints of Ford and Mustang tucked behind it, especially in this gorgeous grabber blue color. And I love the fact that the roof line they've done in an alternate color, black, so it looks like the actual roof line, if you stare at it quickly, is much slopier like this. Now, I'm in California where every single person drives a Tesla. You see 100 of them pass every single day. No one turns their heads, no one really cares. This, however, just driving it around for a couple of days, the amount of people who raced up next to me, pulled over, asked me to roll my window down and said, hey, what is that? How fast is that? How much does it cost? Or people in other American cars giving me thumbs up. The amount of attention this gets is actually truly wild. For a second, I was like, am I testing the new Ford GT, or is this the Mustang Mach-E? So that's a huge positive. If you want something unique that nobody else has yet, the Mustang Mach-E is definitely going to stand out from the Tesla crowd. The Mach-E actually has pretty unique door handles. If you look just for a second, you'll notice there aren't any traditional door handles on the doors themselves. The only thing that really makes it apparent that you can open the door is this little guy right here, but it doesn't do anything. So how do you open the Mach-E? Well, you can either use, like a Tesla, an app in your phone, or if you have your key in your pocket, you simply click this little button here. It pushes the door open slightly, and you just pull on this, and in you go. There's also an electronic latch on the inside as well to let yourself get out. Now, my first concern was, when you open the car door just a slight amount, what happens if you have your fingers in there and someone pushes on it? Well, it actually has a little mechanism that folds away when the door opens to prevent that from happening and to keep your fingers safe. Same thing in the rear of the car. Press that button, got a little pad here, opens right up. Okay, you have to admit, from the rear of the Mach-E, if you look at just this section right here, it looks a heck of a lot like a Mustang. And I love the way the rear window slopes down, and you still got plenty of storage space. Let's check that out, shall we? So go ahead and open up the rear hatch to reveal 30 cubic feet of storage space in the back of the Mach-E. And if you want extra storage space, you fold those rear seats down, you get 60 cubic feet of storage space, and there's even some additional space up in the front trunk because, well, there's no engine. Opening the front trunk reveals there's not a ton of storage space, particularly because of all these dividers, but certainly a heck of a lot more than if you had an internal combustion engine vehicle with absolutely no space in the front whatsoever. All right, let's check out the interior. But before we go over all of the amazing interior features of the Mach-E, as well as what it's actually like to drive, I'd love to give a special shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Keeps. Did you guys know that 2 out of 3 men will experience some sort of male pattern baldness by the time they are 35? I didn't, and that scares me. The best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have hair, and that's where Keeps comes in, and you can do it from home. With Keeps, a licensed doctor will look over your online information and recommend the right treatment plan for you. Then every 3 months, that treatment plan will be sent directly to your door. You can also message your doctor 24/7 with questions and concerns, and Keeps uses generic versions of FDA-approved medication for hair loss, so you save a heck of a lot of money. Keeps treatment typically takes between 4 and 6 months to start seeing quality results, so the sooner you start, the better. If you act now, Keeps will help you save some of that hair you still have left. Find out why Keeps has more 5-star ratings than any of its competitors and join the hundreds of thousands of men using Keeps for their hair loss prevention. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/VV or click the link in the description below for a special offer on Keeps hair loss treatment. That's keeps.com/VV. All right, let's get going. As with the exterior, I really like the design of the interior of the Mach-E. Now, obviously, it's borrowed some design cues from its competitors. We certainly had never seen anything like a screen like this until Tesla put it in the Model S. We've got a 15.5-inch touchscreen display. It looks gorgeous, it's easy to use, the graphics are awesome. We even have this actual dial for the volume in the middle of the screen itself that some people don't like. I kind of think it looks cool. Then we've got a 10.2-inch digital screen for your tach and speedo. I guess you don't really have a tachometer in an electric car, but for your digital instrument cluster that shows you everything you need, from the current speed limit, how many miles you have left on your battery, what charge percentage, as well as some safety alert features, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Love the steering wheel, feels great in your hands, has some controls for the volume as well as the active cruise control. We'll talk more about that in a bit. We've also got an awesome wireless charging station right here for your phone, which is nice. Works every single time without issue. Some nice cup holders, tons of storage space in here, guys. Lift this up. We got this massive storage space with the 12-volt outlet here. We've got a giant glove box. There's storage under here. There's storage to the sides. And there's more storage in the rear as well. Speaking of the rear seats, there is plenty of headroom, plenty of legroom. We've got this optional massive panoramic sunroof that looks so freaking cool, but also makes it feel a little less claustrophobic in the interior, although this feels anything but. Now you'll notice the dash has this material on it that looks kind of strange. It's perforated, it looks really tough, and it kind of reminds me of speakers. Well, that's because it actually is. This car has the 10-speaker Bang & Olufsen setup that sounds fantastic, and they've actually integrated it like a soundbar for a TV into the dash itself. I think it's a really cool design. It's really pretty. Obviously, we've got different speakers throughout because there are 10 speakers, but I like that design language. Got this interesting kind of aluminum here and some leather, but overall, I really enjoy the interior quality, the materials used. I think it's a nice place to be. So let's take it for a spin, shall we? Behind the wheel of the Mach-E now, and there are 3 very distinct driving modes. Right now we are driving in whisper mode, which is exactly what you'd imagine. It's quiet in the cabin. You don't really hear any noise from the electric motors whatsoever. Good road isolation from the surrounding environment. It actually is very, very quiet and relaxing inside the Mach-E. Now, if we switch into engage mode, that makes the throttle response a little bit more sensitive. It makes the ambient lighting blue, and it gives you a little bit more sound in the interior when you accelerate. Probably very hard to hear on the external microphone, but what's not hard to hear is when you put it into the 3rd driving mode, which is called unbridled. I've never driven a car with a mode called unbridled, but this changes the ambient lighting to orange, and it gives this deep rumble under acceleration, almost like you're driving a Mustang. Listen to this. It's the strangest sensation, that little grumble as you're accelerating. I actually kind of like it. I was thinking the other day, why doesn't Tesla, just for fun, have some engine note options? And this, it makes the most sense because Ford actually makes products that make noise, to have a little bit of that Mustang rumble to it. I think it's pretty cool. Acceleration-wise, I mean, we've got that instant torque at 0 RPM from the electric motors, so it does get off the line, and for passing power, it is really impressive. It's not insanely quick, but I'm not in the GT performance model. Now, what I would love to see from them in the future, they just launched this car, and already they're doing a very good job for the price, the performance, the amenities offered, but down the road, I think it'd be so cool if they're following this Mustang theme to have like a Mustang GT500 Mach-E where it just has a crazy, ridiculous electric powertrain. Not to say the GT performance is slow, 3.5 seconds is still very fast to 60, but as Teslas are getting faster and faster, it'd be cool to see something like a GT500 but all electric version from Ford. I'm also curious to see if they make a fully electric version of the actual Mustang. And what would they call that if this is the Mustang Mach-E? I think that could be cool as well to have a sports car from Ford in the future that is all electric. So what is this thing like to drive? You know, around town in whisper mode, it's super, super easy to drive. The brakes take a little bit to get used to. They're pretty touchy, and they're actually a little bit farther back from the gas than I would like. But you can use and activate what's called one pedal drive. Click that right now. And in one pedal drive, I left my foot off the gas and I'm slowing down, coming up on a really sharp turn, but I still don't have to hit the brakes. All I had to do is release the gas. And that way you don't have to hit the brake paddle almost ever, unless you're coming to a really abrupt stop. But with all the safety systems in the car, if someone were to slam the brakes in front of you, the car would actually slow it down to a complete stop and avoid that. Switched over to the point of view camera to really give you a sense of what it's like behind the wheel of the Mach-E. Gonna keep it in unbridled mode for a little bit of spirited driving. Now, I will say, it is a very fun SUV to drive, but it does lose traction very easily, and there is a decent amount of body roll. Now, I do know that the GT Performance version of this vehicle does come with better suspension and bigger wheels, so likely some better tires as well. But even for the mid-level car, you can have a decent amount of fun. There's just a little bit more tire squealing, a little less traction, and a little more body roll than I was anticipating in this vehicle. But look, it rides so nicely in town. It's such an easy vehicle to drive, and I really do also love the view out over the hood. We've got these really nice creased lines in the hood, make it look very muscular, and you've got excellent visibility throughout the interior cabin of the Mach-E. Overall, it's just honestly a joy to drive. It's easy, it's simple, it's quiet. Charging, if you use a DC fast charge station, you can do 59 miles of range in 10 minutes. How crazy is that? About 80% charge in 45 minutes. Takes longer if you don't have a DC fast charging station, but still impressive charging potential in this vehicle. See, it just wants to lose traction so easily, but part of that's actually kind of fun. Yee! It is predictable though. When you do lose traction, it's all understeer, and so it's not dangerous whatsoever if you want to push this thing really hard. Let's do a launch, shall we? Not bad. Now, Ford has a bunch of advanced safety systems as well to keep you and everyone else on the road as safe as possible. They call it Ford's Co-Pilot 360, and it works how you'd expect with nowadays technology. You've got collision avoidance, so if somebody jumps out in front of the road, your Ford is capable of sensing pedestrians and other cars and will automatically flash red on the dash and will apply the brakes fully for you to avoid a terrible accident, which I think is really cool. It's got blind spot monitoring. It even has rear collision avoidance. If you're backing out of your driveway, it's able to detect both stationary objects and objects that are in motion at the exact same time. Then it has adaptive cruise control, so you can stay exactly a certain distance from the car in front of you. If they slow down to a complete stop, so does your Mach-E, and then when they resume speed, so does your Mach-E as well. And if you're in a situation like on the freeway or a multi-lane highway, basically anywhere but intense canyons like this, you can activate the lane keep assist. So it's really easy to do. This button right here has little arrows and little indicators that look like lines in the road. I just turned lane keep system off. Now it is on. And then once it's in an environment that it deems safe, these will light up in green, the little lines to the side of it. And when you activate adaptive cruise control, it'll actually steer itself within the lanes, which is awesome. And it actually goes for longer than 10 seconds before you have to put your hands on the wheel. A lot of German cars, like the X5M I just reviewed, every 10 seconds it would warn you. This one, it looks like it gives you a little bit of extra space and room before you actually have to put your hands back on the wheel, which is nice. All right, one last launch. Ready and go. Well guys, there you have it. The Mustang Mach-E, it's well priced, it's good looking, offers a ton of features, and I think it's an awesome alternative to buying a Tesla, especially if you want something unique when every single person in California is driving a Tesla these days. Ford, you did a great job with this vehicle. I'm excited to see some more fully electric vehicles in the future and what the Mach-E becomes. But man, for a first ever all-electric vehicle, they absolutely knocked it out of the park. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video.